everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another week's episode of HeatPressNation Live. If you are new to HeatPressNation Live, this might be your first time joining us. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Jared, and I'm usually the one here doing different demos and product tutorials, and today is no exception. If you guys saw the caption, you know that today we're talking about oops, right? Because accidents happen when you're pressing, when you're heat pressing, and it doesn't have to be the end of the world. We're gonna get to that in just a minute. I want to give everybody a second to join. Thank you guys for joining and checking on the comments. So I see, and we got my pal Ramon the Cholo and Jesse Gibson tuning in. What's up? We got San Diego and West Virginia represented today. Very cool. Diana's saying good morning from CPT. Not sure where that's at. We got George Lopez coming from Santa Ana. He's saying it's his first time joining us today. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. That's super cool. And then, of course, on Facebook, I got to do this right. There's always a lag. I think I've mentioned it before. On the iPad, there's always a lag here. There we go. We got PL saying hi from Florida. There we go. The comments are kind of like, I see them kind of like slowly, boop, 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 boop. They're kind of slowly loading in. So yeah, there we go. Well, it's a pleasure to see all of you guys here today. It's election day, so hopefully everybody got their votes in. Very, very cool. Danielle saying hi from New York. Very, very cool. Well, I know you guys didn't tune in to hear me just blah, 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 flap my gums. You guys want to see some really cool tutorials, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. Right here, and I'm just going to dive right in. I'm like, diving right in. Right here, I have AlbaChem VLR, which stands for Vinyl Letter Remover. Oh, that's what I make it stand for. It could stand for like some really long technical name. Anyways, this is AlbaChem VLR. It's a vinyl letter remover, and it does exactly what it says. Removes vinyl letters. So if you've ever heat pressed something, which we're gonna do right now, we're gonna go full process here. You're gonna see me press, see I have two different designs. Okay. A thumbs up and a thumbs down. You're gonna see me press something wrong, and then we're gonna fix it, and then you'll see how I get a second chance to press something right. And also, I have this old one here. Usually, it's good to have AlbaChem on hand at all times because you never know when you're gonna mess up. But this shirt, we made this like, dude, probably a month ago, at least a month ago. Honestly, with quarantine, I've lost all track of time. I still feel like April was like 3 weeks ago, so go figure. But this one, I know we pressed about a month ago, and I'm gonna see how hard it is to take off. Ideally, you're using AlbaChem on a freshly ruined t-shirt, so that way, the adhesive hasn't had too much time to set. Ideally, again, this is for, you want this on hand at all times. What kind of sucks is like, let's say you're doing your shirts, you're on your last t-shirt, and then what do you know, you pressed it wrong and you're stuck and you don't have any way to take it off. You have to order this. It takes a couple days to get to you, but a lot of good that does when your order is due the next morning, which if you're like me, you're a procrastinator and you have put off orders until the very last minute. That's why I really recommend, and you'll see it right now. I'm not like trying to infomercial it. This is one thing that I've always had at my station, and it has saved my butt a couple times. And that's what we're gonna show you guys today. So without any further ado, I'm going to come around and we're gonna press this wrong, so that way we could fix it and press it right. If you guys have any questions at all, I got the comments coming in right here, so please feel free, drop a question. Man, everybody's tuning in. We got upstate New York coming in. Hi, Nicole. Carrie's from Connecticut. There we go. What? We got a pal for coming in from Dubai. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's super cool. Nola is in the house. Sean. Awesome. Man, so many people tuning in. So cool. Oh, Nicole is saying, could have used this last week. So many mess ups. Jeez. Yeah, right? And then, yes, everybody is saying what's up. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so I'm gonna come around and we're gonna do this. So here you see, I have right here, and we'll probably, my good pal Alex is gonna help us out right now. So let's say we have this like kind of Billie Eilish fluorescent. There we go. It's like fluorescent yellow. This is like probably brighter in person than it is on camera. I love this stuff, especially on a black shirt. So let's say you're pressing your t-shirts. someone ordered a bunch of, these thumbs up t-shirts, but what do? You make a mistake and you press it upside down, you press it backwards, you put the wrong name. Maybe you're doing jerseys for a kid's sports team and you put the wrong number to the wrong name and you only have so many. You don't have time to go get extras, so what do? So I'm going to pretend not only did I press this upside down, but I pressed it off center. That's what we're going to do today. And so you see here I got this beautiful Craft Pro 15 by 15 with the slide out drawer. We got some cool news about the Craft Pro that is going to be announced pretty soon. I can't say too much, but it's cool. And then everybody's always asking me, why do I always use parchment paper? Because I like it, but just so you guys can see, I also love my Pro Grade non-stick sheet because Teflon is trademarked by the DuPont company. And if you saw that movie, I think it's called Blackwater or Darkwater. You're probably not a fan of DuPont anyways, but anyway, okay. That's beside the point. 305 degrees on my heat press, 15 seconds. Oh, this is my bootleg Fitbit, so it doesn't count seconds. 15 seconds on the clock. Let's give us a second. We're gonna give this the full real press. There we go. Let's slide it out. And so maybe this is you. Maybe you're not paying attention, or maybe you're training an unpaid intern, AKA your kids, right? You're training them and they don't know what the heck they're doing because they're not getting paid. And they're just kids. So we're gonna peel that. That is in there. One of the tests we like to do, and I'm gonna see if this camera's gonna pick it up. Probably won't, but we're gonna try anyways. One of the things we do is, and I'm trying to get a little shade on there. That's in there. One of the things that we check is if you look really closely to your vinyl transfer, if it's pressed properly, you will see the imprint of the shirt threads actually through the vinyl. You gotta look really close. It's probably not gonna get picked up on camera. But anyways, so this, I guarantee you, is in here. So now we're gonna go back over here, right? Our shirt is ruined. Not only does the customer not want a thumbs down t-shirt, I pressed it totally on the wrong section of the shirt. It's supposed to be centered on the chest. So this is my last t-shirt. I don't have anything else. What am I gonna do? This is where AlbaChem VLR really comes in. Now, one thing I didn't grab today, actually I might have one. No, I don't have any here. One thing I didn't grab today, and that's because I kind of don't care. I'm gonna go wash my hands later, but you wanna be using some gloves. You might have sensitive skin. You will come into contact with the chemical, right? You are gonna come in contact with the chemical. Make sure that you have gloves on. If you have even remotely sensitive skin, make sure you're wearing gloves, just to play it safe. Me, I'm bad, man. I'm hardcore. So I'm not wearing my gloves today, but I should be, all right? Do as I say, not as I do. All you parents use that on your kids, huh? Okay, so here's how you do AlbaChem. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the t-shirt inside out, right? The t-shirt is inside out, and my bad spot is like, it's right here. You could see it in there, right? This is where you got to get a little creative. You're like, okay, well, it's up in there. Another thing I've done is I'll just kind of like, if I need to access part of it, I'll just fold the shirt like kind of like half right here. You see that? Just because it's going to let me show you a little easier where this is. Okay? So here's how we use the AlbaChem. You are going to apply it a section at a time. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this stuff works. It works really good, and if you're not careful, it'll work too good. So the AlbaChem, what it does is it starts to break up the adhesive that's on the shirt. The adhesive that we just pressed, that's holding the vinyl to the shirt, it's going to begin to break that apart and loosen it up so that way you could just, boop, you can just peel your graphic right off. Now, if you apply, you can't really apply too much, but if you let the chemical sit for too long, what's going to happen is it's going to start to dissolve the vinyl itself. And then when that happens, you're left with a big mess. sometimes the dyes of the HTV will kind of like, it'll dissolve so much it'll get kind of smeary, right? I know that's not a real word, but it's the best word I could think of. It's gonna start to smear, and then it's gonna make a mess. And I'm tempted to make that mess right now, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna give it my best effort so we can have a good clean peel. Alrighty? So if you have a big section of vinyl that you need to remove, I recommend going a section at a time. Because if you apply it on the whole thing, you're gonna have to peel this side, right? But then this side, the chemical is still active over here. So by the time you make it to the rest of your graphic, this is gonna be all disintegrated and gross. All right, so what I'm gonna do, you wanna apply the chemical from the back side, right? So we got our dumb transfer right here. We got my mistake, my big oops. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a section at a time. And you see there, I'm just like, I probably should have poked a bigger hole in the nozzle because I need a lot more of that. I'm gonna flip it over. Okay, yep. It's right where it's supposed to be. And so to kind of show you how well it works, I'm not going to douse the whole graphic. I'm only gonna be applying to about half. We're gonna flip this back around so you guys can see it better. There we go. And so I applied it to right about here, and you'll see that right now because this part is not gonna come up. So you let it sit for a second, and then you wanna be wearing gloves, and you don't need your fingernails. I'm using my fingernails, but if you're wearing gloves, you could just use the glove. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna start scratching away at it. And see how this is lifting now? There we go. Just like that. Now what you are gonna see, and this is the reason why I wanted to use a black shirt, is because there is gonna be a little bit of the adhesive layer left behind, and I'll cover that in a second. That's when, we hear that complaint quite frequently. It's like, oh yeah, but it leaves residue. Well, yeah, don't worry. There's a solution for that. All is not lost. So you can see here, the AlbaChem, it only went as far, and I'm gonna make sure it peels completely off. The AlbaChem only went as far as the area that I wet. Now, those little flakes, get rid of those. There we go. We don't want those staining our garment. It's not typical, but has happened. So you just want to like flick all that away. So you see that there. Now you see this little white area. Again, this is why I intentionally used a black shirt, because that's the residue from the adhesive. So don't worry, there's a way to get rid of that. But you see here, I only applied the chemical to half my garment, and it only took off half. If this was a big piece, I probably could have taken this off at one time, by the way. If this was a big piece with intricate details, you're like a lot of text or something like that, you're kind of peeling it away section at a time. And again, you start here, by the time you get over here, the chemical has already worked too deep, and you're left with a really smudgy, smeary, gross transfer. So now I'm ready to take out the rest of that transfer, and then I'll show you how we get rid of that residue. So I'm gonna turn my t-shirt inside out once more, and I'm gonna kind of peek here through the neck hole. And now I'm gonna handle the rest. I can also kind of feel it a little bit through here, so I know what I'm doing. And you wanna be kind of liberal with it. You wanna make sure you get it fully, sorry. If you need, I don't recommend going too far, but I need just a little bit more out of my, coming out of the spout. So, trusty utility knife there. There we go, there we go. Feel free to get a little liberal with it. And you want to make sure you're completely covering, because as you just saw, it's only going to lift what it touches. All right, so if you miss it, it's not going to remove that part. It's not like, it doesn't remove it by proxy. All right, now you probably can't see the big wet spot on here, but I've soaked a little bit beyond. Oh, that's another thing. If you have like fine details, you want to only cut off a part, but not the part next to it. You got to be really careful when applying the AlbaChem. So, okay, gonna give it a couple seconds. You might see it start to wrinkle, and that's usually my indicator that it's ready to peel. Again, please use gloves when you're going through this process. I am dumb, and so do not follow my poor example of not wearing gloves. Please, please wear your gloves. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for just another second. Again, you don't wanna let it sit too long. We're doing this in real time today, folks. Nothing is sped up. There we go. Nothing is sped up. And again, you guys are seeing this, the adhesive residue that's getting kind of left behind. Now, if I were to I'm gonna let these last sections sit just a little bit longer. It's gonna give the chemical a little more time to eat away at that adhesive, okay? And then again, don't worry, there is a way to get rid of that, and I'm gonna show you guys right now. Once we peel up this, so I'm gonna let this sit. Oh, again, this doesn't count seconds. I'm gonna let this sit for another maybe like 20 seconds. Tim is asking, will this work on 600D vinyl-backed polyester fabric? The back is waterproof. If it's waterproof, there's no way for the chemical to seep into it, so you might have to apply it on top, which it could work. I haven't tried it. The company recommends applying it to the back so it could work on the adhesive and not the vinyl. If the vinyl gets eaten away too much, and I'm gonna start to peel. Oh yeah, I can feel this vinyl is getting real gooey. And so the problem with the vinyl getting real gooey is that if you're not careful, it'll eat away at the vinyl, and then you'll have it'll just stain the shirt and it'll eat away at the dyes in the vinyl. Oh, one more reason why you want to wear gloves is because I forgot. Now my fingers are covered in this dumb adhesive. So it's a hassle to wash out. Wear your gloves, people. Okay, so now there's a couple little flaky flakes here. Just gonna, and I did say flaky flakes because I have like 9 nieces and nephews, and so always having to communicate with them. And for some reason, like, you could tell them to go to sleep, or you could say it's time for sleepy sleep. And then for some reason, the second one just goes better. No idea what that's all about. Okay, so you guys are looking, you see we still have our imprint. This is the adhesive from the HTV that we just peeled away. So you just saw, I took the decal off, but now I have this residue. And the way we're gonna solve that is I have a clean microfiber cloth. If you don't have a microfiber, you can get a regular cloth. I'm probably just gonna wanna get a plain basic like terry cotton cloth or something. If you don't want anything where the color is gonna bleed from the cloth onto your garment. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna give it another fresh little soak. Right, I'm gonna cover that area. And then here's the key. I'm gonna soak up a little section here of my rag. This is where the magic happens, all right? You wanna be careful. And so you're just gonna kind of rub away the adhesive. Just gonna kind of wanna and then we're gonna move over the rag and get a new wet section. Because what you don't want to do is rub any adhesive into the garment, right? You want to rub it out of the garment. And you're just gonna have to carefully go over the area. One thing I've learned is with cotton, you don't want to like grind it too hard, because then you start to like wear away at the fibers of it. Let the chemical do the work for you. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be real abrasive with the cotton, because then this whole little section is going to have the little balls. I don't know what you call them. The pillow? I forget what you call it. When the cotton starts to get all ballsy and weird. So again, you don't want to be too abrasive with it. And you can just see right there on camera, this is how you get rid of the adhesive. So you might be saying, oh, that's kind of a pain. You know, you should just have an extra shirt. Well, this is for when you don't have an extra shirt. Because ideally, the time it's taking me to clean this, it might not be worth the labor that you're charging your customers. We're doing this in real time here, and I'm going to switch to a different section. Again, I'm letting the chemical do the work for me. So I'm dousing a new section right here. Might even hit this a little bit, right? And we're just rubbing away at that adhesive. Again, you don't want to like grind into it. We're letting the chemical do the work for us. And for some of you, if you have extra shirts on hand, it's probably worth it to just trash the shirt. The shirts cost maybe $2, $3. Your vinyl, maybe you have like $1 or $2 worth of vinyl on there. But if it's a big graphic, it's going to take you like 15 minutes. You know, your labor might not be worth that. If you're paying yourself $20 an hour, 15 minutes, that's like $5 in labor, right? If that's what you're pricing your labor at for yourself, that's a whole separate topic. But like when I'm pricing out garments, I always pay myself at least, you know, because it's skilled labor, right? So I pay myself. I factor in a good labor cost. So that way, even if I give a discount or whatever, I'm not totally losing money. I'll at least have made money for the time that I spent on here. So this is out. There's like small little patches where we have a little bit more adhesive residue, but no worry, I'm just gonna go over this really quick. Then we're gonna take your questions. I know this is kind of boring for some, but for those of you guys who have ever screwed up on your very last shirt and you don't have any extras, this stuff is a godsend. And also we're doing this in real time so that way you can calculate about how much of your time it's gonna take to fix a t-shirt. One thing I will say also is that depending, and we're gonna see it right now on an old shirt. We got a t-shirt right over here that's been pressed for a minute, right? And so we're gonna see how that one holds up. And again, I'm not being too abrasive with it. Black is probably the toughest color, I will say, to clean up, just because the adhesive is a little bit lighter. So black is tough, but that's why I brought out a black shirt so you can see. If this was on like a white or a light, like athletic gray shirt, beautiful. And this is something that you're honestly gonna wanna have to test for yourself. It's not a perfect system, but doggone it has gotten me out of some binds. And then another thing is you probably should be buying extras anyways. I always say if you have 10 shirts to make and you only buy 10 blank shirts, you're about 1 or 2 shirts short, guaranteed, every time. Okay, so we're gonna let this dry for a second. I'm gonna take your questions. You want this to be completely dry before you heat press it, and you want it like air dried. So, oh, that's cute. Messed up our tabletop there. It's powerful stuff. Use gloves. All right, so let me double check here. George Lopez is asking, I designed my neck labels. They're 2 by 3 inches tall. Which hat press has enough heat coverage to place my labels? If my label design is too large, what is the max size for a neck label for your presses? Oh, that's a good question. I want to say our cap presses, the Black Series cap press is about 2.5 by 4, roughly. All these details are available on our website, by the way. So if you want to be specific, be sure, just go to our website. It's going to have those exact details for you. The new Signature Series cap press, the auto open, is a little bit bigger. I want to say that's more like 3.5 inches by like 6 or 7 inches. So that should be enough to cover those neck labels. But yeah, we also have cap and label combos, and the label press on the cap and labels, like the Black Series, which is what I have, it's like a 5 by 5. So that should have you covered. And that's like, it's a flat attachment that goes onto what you're doing. Great question. Do we sell this on our site? Yes, we do. Right here, AlbaChem VLR. This one's dented, which is why I got it for free. Someone in the warehouse dropped it, and so then I kept it. So it's mine now. Yeah, AlbaChem VLR. It's available on our website. I think it's heat.press/VLR. I'm not sure on that one. I'll double check for you. There we go. Oh, Jennifer's saying, thanks so much for this demo. I purchased this and have been nervous to use. Yeah, definitely. I totally understand that. And once this dries up, you'll see exactly how it looks on camera, which is going to be a great demo. And again, black it's the hardest thing. Black t-shirts, it's the hardest thing to get out to use this chemical on because of the residue. And that's why I wanted to use a black shirt. So this is like my worst case scenario shirt right here. If you're doing white shirts, you can't even, trust me, it comes out great. Okay, let me pop on over to our Facebook and let's see what kind of questions you guys got for me over there. Looks like everybody's just hanging out. Not a lot of questions, but let me, let's see, because there's always that like delay. Oh, come on, come on. There we go. Oh, good question. Does this product have any smell? Yeah, there is a little, you want to be in like a well-ventilated area. We have the AC on and there's good ventilation in this room, which is why I'm not too concerned like being over it. You definitely, if you're sensitive to smells, maybe, well, we're all wearing masks right now. But you know, mask up, get a fan to blow out. You want to be in a well-ventilated room. Also, this is flammable. So, you know, don't let your kids, like, don't use it to start your fires. Like, this is an industrial product, all right? You know, I know heat transfer, we do it in the home. We're heat pressing in our homes. But these are, you know, this is industrial equipment that's been made available to use in the home, but you still got to treat it with the proper care and respect. That's for sure. How does this affect the material once it dries? We've tested it. I've used it on cotton and polycotton. I haven't used it on vinyl, like jackets or leather or anything like that. Yeah, it doesn't really say, or if it does, it's deep there somewhere. Lots of disclaimers on this product. Anyways, yeah, actually, so this was designed for removing heat applied materials, and it's advertised as working on tagless labels. Oh, you know what? We have a tagless label on this polo. We'll try that too right now, which most of those are like plastisol, so we will test that out. Will it work on something 1 inch to 8 inches that's been pressed for several months? That's a great question because we're about to test this polo that got pressed about a month ago. So we're gonna find out right now. It's recommended to use this immediately. It's mostly meant for like when you make mistakes on your job, like how I just did, like we pretend like, oh, I pressed my transfer upside down and in the wrong spot. It's meant for like immediate use, but we're gonna test it for use on something that's been pressed for a long time. So we're about to find out. Oh yeah, going back to how does this affect the material? It works just fine. I've tested it personally, cotton and cotton poly. Works great. It doesn't like degrade the material in any way. I think the part you want to be careful is, what I mentioned earlier, is you don't want to, if you have to use your rag to kind of rub out the area, you don't want to like, you don't want to go super hard on it because the abrasion of the rag is what's gonna, make it look dumb. I wish I had a better way to say it. That's what's gonna give you a dumb look on it. It's not the chemical itself. Now, some products that are specially dyed, and I'm talking about like tie-dye shirts, or if you have like chemically distressed shirts, you wanna give it a test. So you wanna go to like an inconspicuous area and just kind of test it and see how it's gonna work on specially treated garments. But again, this is a Gildan black 100% cotton t-shirt, which is, I feel like it represents a good amount of what's being used out there, and it's just fine. No issues at all. It's still drying up, so. One thing I will warn you that I did not anticipate is right here. Our vinyl surface of it's a vinyl remover, and this is a vinyl surface on our desk, so we got to get a new one. I just ruined that. It's kind of like when I accidentally got some of the glass etching cream on our iPad, and I etched our iPad screen. Yeah, that was fun. They were real happy for me on that one. Okay, great question. We're waiting for this to dry up. While we're doing that, let's go ahead. I'm just gonna set this t-shirt to the side. Let's go ahead. We're gonna repress that just for the full effect. But we have here this polo. This polo, don't look at it, it's dirty, all right? This is one of my old polos that we used. Okay, so I'm just gonna open this up here. And we're gonna test two things because it says it's good for removing tagless labels, which is what we have on the inside of this Gildan polo. But I'm mostly worried about this. I know this was, and if someone goes online, you could probably fact check this. or not. This was at least a month ago. I'll say up to 3. Between 1 and 3 months old is when we did this particular graphic. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get off. And it's small enough to where I'm comfortable doing it all in one shot. So let's get to work. If you guys have any questions, please do me a favor and drop it in the comments below. Now again, what you saw first, the fluorescent yellow transfer on my black t-shirt, that was a fresh transfer, which is, again, you want to have AlbaChem on hand always, so that way you have it even if you don't need it. It's better than needing it and not having it, and I'll tell you that from experience. Okay, so I've soaked this section of my garment, the whole section. Gonna give this a few seconds to peel, and we're gonna see how well it does on something that's been pressed for at least a month and up to 3 months ago. So the adhesive has truly had time to set. And I could see the vinyl starting to wrinkle. So here's why I really wish I had brought my gloves. Again, please use gloves. Work in a well-ventilated area. Wear a mask if you have to. It's not too strong of a smell, but if you're sensitive to smells, you might not enjoy that. Okay, so that's starting to come up. There we go. So I'm just kind of starting them. And you know, for this one, I probably should have done it half and half because the letters are a pain. There we go. I'm actually going to get to work on the letters first. There we go. So you see how it's just kind of coming up. The chemical, what it has done, it's broken down the adhesive that's binding the vinyl to the garment. Now, if you let that chemical work a little bit too long, what might happen is it might break down the vinyl itself, or even the dyes that give the vinyl its color. And if that breaks down, you might find yourself in a position where it's like smearing, and it's disintegrated so much that it's just you have the vinyl dye now, just smearing into your shirt, which is not cool. Then your shirt's for sure done. Then you're totally out of luck. And so now, oh, whoops, get that out of there. Should still be able to. If you wait too long, so you see how my big portion, it's coming off in pieces now. If you wait too long, again, the chemical is going to do its work, and you won't be able to peel it off in one piece. You're going to have to go little tiny section by section. So you see, and again, we're doing this in real time. Nothing is sped up, but I'm really stoked. This garment was pressed well over a month ago. And again, I don't remember 100%. I'm going to say between 1 and 3 months. And boom. And of course, we covered this a little earlier. If you're just joining us, what we're doing is we're using our AlbaChem vinyl, VLR, vinyl letter remover. Let's get rid of that. Shake that off. And so now what's left on the shirt, and you see it here, this is a dark shirt, so it's going to be more visible. You see the imprint of that. And I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not going to go super hard, but just so we're all on the same page, or if you're just tuning in, you can get rid of that by gently, again, we're going to let the chemical do the work. You're going to douse your rag and the garment, and you're just going to gently wipe that away. Keyword on gentle. Now, one thing I do notice is that this adhesive is a little bit more in there. So it worked at getting it off, but I can already tell I'm having a little bit of a harder time getting the adhesive that's been there out of the garment. So while it did remove my vinyl, I'm not like 100% stoked on the results of now trying to get rid of the adhesive residue. So I mean, what could work though is if you plan to put something directly over it, you could cover it up. Like that'll work for sure. But if I wanted to just have it look clean, that's probably not gonna work on this garment. Yeah, and again, I don't wanna scrub really hard because that's just gonna wear away this section and it's gonna look dumb. So yeah, so the verdict on this test, and it could also be the fiber, like the weave of this shirt is a lot different. It's a polo, so it's like more of a thick woven shirt. Yeah, it's possible the adhesive is just kind of in those little tiny little canyons or whatever you want to call them. So the verdict on a polo shirt, I'll have to test this on an HTV shirt. If you guys have tested this, let me know in the comments. I'm going to check back in the comments right now. Okay, now one more thing we did want to test is we wanted to see if it'll get rid of labels. So, and this is cool if you're relabeling t-shirts. Actually, I have a t-shirt that I've been meaning to try this on because it had a tagless label, but over the years, I've had this shirt legit since like 2013. Over the years, what has happened was it's gotten very uncomfortable to wear because it like, you know, you wash and you dry and you wash and you dry and it got kind of crispy and it just like irritates my skin now. So like I have to wear an undershirt under that shirt. Okay, so I see it working. Let's see if it's, so again, we're testing it on the inside label of this polo. Now, all shirts are different. Maybe it's not working on this polo. Could work for yours. But really, the big winner, and I'll bring this shirt back because it should be dry now. The big winner is on HTV. Let's try a little on top. Let's see what happens. And again, we're very liberal with this chemical. It does dry very quickly. I see it working. This whole little area is like bubbling up. So let's, oh yeah. It's breaking up a little bit, but again, this is a really old, this shirt has also been washed and dried plenty of times, so I'm not sure if that like set the inside label. Yeah, I don't know, it might take a little more time. I've never done an inside label before. We're kind of just testing that. Again, I'm gonna let this sit for a second. We're gonna let that sit over here, and I'm gonna come around back on the heat press, and I'm gonna show you guys my t-shirt that I ruined and then brought back from the t-shirt dead right now. So if you guys have been watching it from the beginning, you saw how I mispressed this t-shirt. I don't know if you can see that on camera. There is a very faint, right here. I probably could have taken a couple extra seconds to just work that area a little bit better. And this is something you'd only see when it dries, because when it's wet, you know how everything gets dark. So now that it's completely dry, I see that right here, there's a small little section. I don't even know if you can see that on camera. And I'm not even 100% people would notice in real life. They probably would. It's like right here, it's kind of faint. That's where you would just, after it dries, you're just gonna wanna probably hit it again and rub away that adhesive. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just gonna go ahead and repress right here. I mean, you guys got the idea of how this works. So you guys saw me, I pressed it upside down and I pressed it like way over here. Of course, this is a thumbs up t-shirt, so we're gonna go right side up. And once this is dry, you are good to repress. And we got 15 seconds on the clock, 305 degrees Fahrenheit. There we go. I love Jeopardy. All right, 5 seconds on the clock. Thank you for your pay. Oh, and you see over here, I messed up the vinyl top of our desk. Wear your gloves, people. Okay, so we're gonna slide this out and everything is beautiful. What does that song, how does the song go? Everything is awesome from the Lego movie. I love that song. All right, so I'm gonna come back around, show it to the camera. You guys saw, I absolutely ruined this t-shirt, but now thanks to my good pals over at AlbaChem with their VLR chemical, I was able to salvage my shirt and I could deliver this to my customer. Again, two things. If you want to like not have an oops situation, you always want to have extra tees on hand. I try to always have an extra, and I factor this into my pricing for every order. If somebody orders a dozen shirts, various sizes, I'll buy like one or two of an extra size, right? Like if they have it across the board, small, medium, large, what I'll do is I'll order an extra medium and an extra large on this order, right? It's $2 a shirt, right? And then I'll just store them. Black and white shirts especially, or whatever colors you're doing mostly. And then on my next order, maybe I'll buy one more shirt, when I go to the shirt shop. So I try to keep a good stock of extra shirts because you never know when you're gonna have an oops. And hopefully you have some of this on hand. But if you don't, again, you just have an extra shirt. It's always best to be prepared when you're heat pressing. You never know when that oops might show up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and check in on our comments. Thank you guys so much for joining me for today's live stream. Danielle has a great question. She says, do we wash before repressing? No need. You can just let it air dry completely. Don't iron it. Don't heat press it to speed up the drying process. Again, it does take a little time to use this stuff, and you saw the process in real time today. So this is kind of like it's kind of like your emergency parachute, I guess, for when you mess up on a shirt, you don't have any extras, and you absolutely have to salvage what you got. That's where this stuff is a lifesaver. Of course, this combined with having extra shirts on hand, you'll be totally covered. But no, you don't need to wash. You can just let it completely air dry. Okay, does it work with Forever Sublilite? It's a great question. I haven't tested it with the Forever Sublilite. I'm actually pretty sure it'll work on the adhesive, but I don't know how the sublimation dye is gonna react with the chemical. It's not something we've tested yet, and it's something that I will test very soon. It's a great question. Hey, show us the new haircut. Yeah, I did cut my hair, but I'm wearing a hat because it's really long. So yeah, I just cut my hair. Yeah, thank you. It's usually done. We have some videos coming up where I actually combed my hair, or I styled it. Nobody says combed my hair anymore. All right. Plastisol, you know what? I haven't tested this with Plastisol just yet. Although I would be cautious because Plastisol inks, if you're dissolving the inks, like they could just kind of smear out, It works best on vinyl because vinyl is one piece and you just kind of peel it away. I haven't tested it with Plastisol. How does this affect the material once it dries? I think we already covered that. It should be just fine. I'm gonna check over here, check in with our YouTube crowd. Any other questions? Jeffrey says, just purchased. No lie, I was looking for this 2 hours before the show started. You guys are on time. Thank you so much. I'm glad, and I hope now that whoever decides to purchase this chemical, I hope you guys are a little more confident in being able to use this product. Last thing we're gonna do, and I totally forgot about that, is I'm gonna just test this. I let that chemical sit for a while. Yeah, it's probably because I've already washed this a bunch of times. So what I should be doing for a proper test is test it on a t-shirt with a pre-printed inside label. So once I get one of those, I'll be sure to test that out. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, other than that, I thank you guys so much for joining us. A couple announcements real quick before we go. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. We have lots of great content coming out like every week. We have several videos coming out a week. Super cool, so you can stay up to date on all the greatest and latest stuff. Among those latest and greatest things, the Cameo Pro is available for pre-order. And you're like, dude, what's the Cameo Pro? Well, we all know the Silhouette Cameo. It's a 12-inch cutter. This year, Silhouette released the Cameo Plus, which is a 15-inch cutter. Well, they've one-upped themselves, and available for pre-order right now is the Cameo Pro, which is a 24-inch cutter. We're going to talk about that at a whole other time, but it is up for pre-order. If you go to heat.press/Cameo Pro, you'll be able to check out all the details and place your pre-order if you like. One more thing that I had on my brain. Oh, our Facebook group. Do me a favor, join our Facebook group. It's the HeatPressNation Creators Group. It's heat.press/FB group. And that's where you can go. There's lots of great creators there. Everyone from pros to hobbyists to people who are just getting started. So if you have any questions, it's a great place. do me a favor. If you're going to join the group, or if you're in the group and you have a question, use the search feature. I feel like we've had so many people ask, and I'm not complaining, but there's so many good answers out there to a lot of common questions. And so, you know, good answers to where maybe a person who's answered it like 5 times, they probably don't want to answer it again. So just go back. Lots of great answers for a lot of the most common questions. Use the search feature, and trust me, there's like, you'll see, there's like a plethora, all right, of knowledge in the Facebook group. I can't recommend it enough. Heat.press/FB group will take you there. Last thing, if you are on Instagram or Twitter and you want to share your work or just get inspiration from other creators, use the hashtag HPNCreators, and yeah, we'll have a blast. I'm already talking too much, so I'm going to let you guys go. Have a very happy and safe election day. Do your part, get out there and vote, and we hope to see you guys real soon. All right, adios, everyone.